It's now time for Party Chat Sports.
The only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Hey, welcome back, Party Chat Sports. It's been a hot minute since I've got on here to record something. I know Dylan has a NCAA or College Football 25 episode that he put out about a week or two ago, so make sure you check that out. But, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Party Chat Sports. It has been a unintentional hiatus for us here. There just has been a lot going on for us and not a lot going on in the football world. But I did want to hop on here because the biggest piece of news that we've gotten lately has been the Trevor Lawrence contract that he signed. So today, I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about NFL quarterback contracts. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And boy, are there some ugly contracts out there. It is gross, some of these contracts. And let's start with that Trevor Lawrence contract. I'm not going to get on here and say that it is an outrageous contract. Now, he is making a ton of money. But that's the price you pay for quarterback. The next paid quarterback is the highest paid quarterback. And he is the second highest paid quarterback. Actually, him and Joe Burrow, in terms of total value, average per year, they're making the same. So Trevor Lawrence's contract is $275 million over 5 years. So he's averaging 55 a year with $200 million guaranteed. That's a ton of money. I'm not going to sit here and lie. That is a ton of money for the former first overall draft pick. And is he really worthy of being the second highest paid quarterback? No, there's definitely some quarterbacks that deserve to be paid higher. But if you're the Jaguars, you're not paying him for what he has done. Kind of like Jalen Hurts when he was re-signed by the Eagles. You're not necessarily paying him for what he has done. You're paying him for what you expect him to do. You expect him to take another leap forward. I think the biggest issue, we're going to take a little sidebar off the contracts here for a second and talk about Trevor Lawrence, because Trevor Lawrence gets a lot of hate, at least in our group. Drew is a big hater of him, and I think there's a couple other people that trickle in and start pouring more hate or more gasoline onto that fire that Drew already likes. I think the issue with Trevor Lawrence, the way I see it, is he came into the league with such high expectations. He was given to us and told that he is going to be the next best thing since Andrew Luck. And he has failed to deliver on that. However, that is not to say that Trevor Lawrence isn't a good quarterback. He just hasn't been the generational superstar at quarterback that he was, tabbed as. And that's not his fault. That's the media's fault. That's everybody else that's putting those terms on him. Which everybody that knows me knows I hate that to begin with, because, then you see stuff like Trevor Lawrence, where he's not a bad quarterback. He did take a setback last year. The fumbles is still an issue. But he still makes some elite throws. He's still, kind of like early Peyton Manning, is how I would say. He's still turning the ball over a little bit more than you would like to see. I think, though, with Doug Peterson, he's just going to get better. I think last year was a step back, for sure. But I think he's going to be able to bounce back from that this year. And he's going to have to. He's going to have to. Or else the Jaguars are completely screwed, especially with this 5-year, $275 million contract that they just gave Trevor Lawrence. I don't fault the Jaguars for giving him this contract. It is a ton of money, like I already said. but he was going to be the next highest paid quarterback anyways, just because that's how it goes. That's how it rolls. You don't have to agree with how much he's being made or being paid, but when it comes to quarterback, like I said earlier, the next paid quarterback is going to be the highest paid quarterback. And I think Trevor Lawrence, we'll see if he earns that contract because, again, the Jaguars, they paid him based off of what they project him to do. And I think that's a fair statement. I'm going to share my screen real quick and just show you the other. We're going to look at over the cap real quick. We're going to look at over the cap and show you what the quarterback contracts as of today are. I have this highlighted down here in a second. I'll get to why I have that highlighted with the Jordan Love contract there. But you see Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence, the two highest paid quarterbacks in the league. Joe Burrow makes sense. He got the Bengals to a Super Bowl. He has been often injured, so that does hurt him. But again, he was the next best quarterback or next in line to get paid, and he got paid. So you got Joe Burrow, you got Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff at $53 million a year. He signed that $212 million deal. I don't remember when he signed that. Justin Herbert at pretty much $262 million, averaging $52 million a year. The two-time MVP Lamar Jackson is making $52 million a year. Jalen Hurts, again, kind of the same situation as Joe Burrow, led his team to the Super Bowl, got paid $51 million a year. Kyler Murray, former first overall draft pick, 46. Deshaun Watson was traded to the Browns and immediately got a huge contract, fully guaranteed contract. Still doesn't make sense. I'm going to briefly touch on that one here. $230 million guaranteed, fully guaranteed. Kirk Cousins got paid this offseason, and Patrick Mahomes is making the same average per year as Kirk Cousins. That is wild. Josh Allen, $43 million a year. Matthew Stafford and Dak Prescott and Daniel Jones all coming in at $40 million a year. Aaron Rodgers, $37.5. Derek Carr, $37.5. Baker Mayfield, $33. The reason I have this highlighted is you can see there is a huge step between Jordan Love and these next batch of quarterbacks. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17. 18 quarterbacks that are paid higher than Jordan Love. That's going to change here soon. And then after Jordan Love, it's all guys on the rookie contracts and backups, including Tua Tagovailoa. And Tua is going to probably be in this spot here soon. He's going to be in the top 5 highest paid quarterbacks here, in short order, I would imagine. So, yeah, I wanted to share that so that you can see these quarterback contract numbers. Some of them are ridiculous. Some of them are very, very ridiculous. So let's talk about that. We're going to work backwards. We're going to go from the ugly, the bad, and the good. Okay? Start with the worst quarterback contract in the league, Daniel Jones. This was ridiculous when the Giants paid him, when they made the deal. As soon as it happened, that was a dumb deal at the time, and it looks dumber by the second. They have traded, or they've acquired, I don't remember if it was a trade or how they got Drew Lock. But Drew Lock, I would not be surprised if we see Drew Lock play more games than Daniel Jones here. The Giants were very heavy in the quarterback rumors leading into the draft. Obviously didn't draft a quarterback. They went Malik Neighbors. Probably the best thing for their next quarterback. Because Daniel Jones is not it. He is not it. That is a god-awful contract. You're paying him the same. He is making the same average per year salary as Dakota Prescott. That is gross. That is disgusting. And it's hindering the Giants from being able to make a move at quarterback. A significant move at quarterback this offseason. Because now you have to see, all right, well, we just gave Jones his contract. It's not like you gave it to him a couple of years ago. This happened in 2023. the last offseason, not this past offseason that we're pretty much wrapping up, but the offseason prior. So you have to see, all right, is this investment worth it? And so far, it has not been worth it. It wasn't worth it when you made it. It's like when you bet on a group of 5 team to win the Natty. It's a waste of money. It is, that is gross negligence, essentially, giving Daniel Jones that contract. And the Giants are paying for it. They're going to continue to pay for it. And that has been one of the worst NFL contracts in the league today. That is gross. Another one of the worst, I already mentioned this one. Deshaun Watson getting $230 million guaranteed after coming off of a year where he did not play. He had all the issues, legal troubles that he had before, that was going on. He had the legal problems and issues and whatnot when the Browns made the trade and gave him that contract. He is still, no quarterback should be paid higher than Patrick Mahomes. But quarterbacks that haven't won a playoff game for their team definitely shouldn't be paid higher than Patrick Mahomes. Deshaun Watson he really hasn't done anything for the Browns. He has looked like a complete bust. That's looking like a terrible trade for the Browns. And he's the 8th highest paid quarterback in the league. That was another one where at the time the Browns needed to do what they needed to do to get the trade done because they desperately wanted Deshaun Watson. Apparently screw you, Baker Mayfield. And I think every time he makes a pass, every error he makes, that contract looks sillier and sillier. The other one I really don't care for is Kyler Murray's. I guess with Kyler Murray, it's kind of in that same boat as Trevor Lawrence and Jalen Hurts, where you're paying him for what you think he's going to do. And he just hasn't achieved that yet. There's been injuries, there's been other things that have plagued him. But Kyler Murray, has he won a playoff game? I don't think Kyler Murray's won a playoff game. I don't think he did. No. He's not. He has 2 interceptions and he has a passer rating of 40.9 with 137 yards and 2 interceptions in one playoff game in his career. I think before you give a quarterback a mega deal, they have to win a playoff game for your team. Like Joe Burrow made it to the Super Bowl. Trevor Lawrence won a playoff game against the Chargers. Justin Herbert. By my logic, probably shouldn't have gotten that contract. But, there's other factors that play into that. Nothing is ever fine print, written in stone exactly this is how it should be. But, for Kyler Murray, I just don't think he had proved enough to deserve that contract. I think that's in my worst category, okay? I've got 3 in each. That's how I split this up. So I got 3 in the worst, 3 in the bad, and 3 in the good. So my 3 worst contracts, Daniel Jones and Deshaun Watson clear it by a flippin' mile. And then I put Kyler Murray in that worst. In the bad, I got Jalen Hurts there in the bad. Because, yes, he led your team to a Super Bowl, but it was very Carson Wentz-esque is what it reminded me of. It's where he had one good year, and you paid him maybe too early. We'll see if he ends up, proving the Eagles right, or if he proves the Eagles wrong for making that deal. I understood when they made the deal, all right, he was probably one of the better quarterbacks in the NFC. He had led the Super Bowl. You got to pay him. But that still doesn't discount the fact that he probably shouldn't have been a 51-a-year quarterback. But that's just the going rate. That was just the going rate. You still have to bunch that in the bad, just because I just don't think he was worth that kind of money. Like Jared Goff, too. I love Jared Goff on the Lions. But is he the third best quarterback in the league? Absolutely not. Yet he's paid like it. $53 million a year for Jared Goff. That's high. That is extremely high for him. So he's got to be put in the bad. And then there's kind of a three-way tie here. I wasn't sure who else to put in the bad. Like, I wanted to mention Derek Carr, but he is like outside the top 10 in terms of contracts. So Kirk Cousins just signed a new deal with the Falcons, and then I think what makes the Kirk Cousins contract, why I would consider that being bad, is because the Falcons then went on to draft Michael Penix. I think just that combination makes the Cousins contract bad. But I'm going to say Trevor Lawrence. I think that Trevor, as much as I understand, that's the thing. I can understand why teams are doing this. Like, I understood why the Eagles pay Jalen Hurts. I understand why Jared Goff got paid by the Lions. And I understand why Trevor Lawrence just got paid. But I don't think he's the best. He is not the best quarterback in the league. Yet he is paid like he's the best quarterback in the league. That's a lot of wishful thinking and a lot of hoping that Trevor Lawrence shows us something that we haven't seen yet at this level. A lot of wishful thinking. So that's tough. That is really tough. I get it. I still get it. Like, even Joe Burrow's contract, it's like, all right, well, maybe that was a little bit of an overpay, but every quarterback essentially is overpaid, except for maybe these three. Okay, so these are the good that I have. I'm putting Justin Herbert in the good. He is the only reason the Chargers have really had a chance the last couple of years. So, like, 52.5 next year is definitely going to be a steal. So Justin Herbert, I would bunch that in the good. I've got Josh Allen's contract. I mean, say what you want about Josh Allen. I love being a Bills hater. But he's done more in his NFL career than Trevor Lawrence, than Jared Goff, than Justin Herbert, then Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins, Deshaun Watson, and yet Josh Allen isn't even in the top 10 for quarterback contracts. But the best contract for a quarterback in terms of team perspective, this is all team perspective. The best contract for an NFL player, from the player's perspective, is Joe Burrow, and then Trevor Lawrence, and then Jared Goff, because that's 1, 2, and 3. But Patrick Mahomes' contract, by the day, that is becoming a steal. Like, at the time, it's like, holy crap, you're giving him $500 million over 10 years? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You do that. $45 million a year. Ended up actually only being like $450 million in total value across the 10 years. But $45 million a year for a guy that is proving himself to be in that GOAT conversation this fast. I mean, already 3 Super Bowls, already a couple MVPs. I mean, that is pretty damn good. That is $45 million a year for Patrick Mahomes is a steal. That's a slam dunk. And at some point, the Chiefs will be smart to lock him up and try extending that contract, I would think, and readjusting that number. And I know I mentioned Justin Herbert, but he would actually probably be my 4th quarterback there. There was one that I definitely missed there on the good list that I said Justin Herbert instead of. So I'll get to that one here in a second. But Patrick Mahomes, man. Like I said, at the time, that just seemed like wow, you're really going to give him a 10-year deal. And now it's like, oh, yeah, you do that every day of the week, twice on Sundays. Like, you do that repeatedly. Like, he earned it, and he continues to earn it every single year. He is the best quarterback in this decade. I don't see us seeing another quarterback as good as Patrick Mahomes in the 2020s. This is a decade of Mahomes right here. We are witnessing history, and the fact that he is only the 10th highest paid quarterback in this league that's quite interesting. So again, share this again. I really hope I'm not lagging. I just noticed that I might be lagging a little bit. I really hope I'm not lagging. But here are your top 10 highest paid quarterbacks in the league in order: Burrow, Lawrence, Goff, Herbert, Lamar, Hurts, Kyler, Deshaun, Cousins, and then Mahomes. Insane. Because Mahomes should definitely be like, here's Joe Burrow at $55 million. Mahomes should be like way up here. He should be making at least $60 million without blinking. Like, that is insane. The other quarterback, so I mentioned that I made a little error on my end by saying Justin Herbert instead of this guy. And that's Lamar Jackson. I know there's some Lamar Jackson hate from certain members of this group chat, but him being the 5th highest paid quarterback in the league, after being a 2-time MVP, he's achieved more. I gotta be careful saying he's achieved more than Jared Goff. I do have to, take a little pump on that because Jared Goff did make it to a Super Bowl. But Trevor Lawrence hasn't. Justin Herbert hasn't. Lamar Jackson has made it to an AFC Championship game. So that's like, all right, Trevor Lawrence made it to an AFC. No, he did not. He did not make it to an AFC. Did he? No. That was a divisional round against the Chiefs. So Lamar Jackson has made it to the AFC title game, has been a 2-time MVP. He should probably be closer to that 55. I mean, $3 million a year for them is like, oh wow, big whoop. But it's still like that 2-time MVP should probably be paid a little bit higher. So I do like that deal for the Ravens, and that's another one where over time that's just going to look better and better. Speaking of time, let's wrap this up by talking about 3 quarterbacks who are about to get paid. And one of those guys is the guy that I had highlighted, Jordan Love. If he has another year like he had in 23, or a similar year, he is going to be paid. He's going to be one of those. He'll probably be a $55 million a year guy, at least, minimum. All these 3 quarterbacks that I'm about to mention are making no less than 53, I would say. I'd say about 52, 53 is kind of the minimum for these 3 quarterbacks. I think Jordan Love is going to be in that area of getting paid that much money. So, Jordan Love is about to get paid. Tua is probably the next quarterback to be paid. I think he gets paid this offseason. It's going to be dumb when he does. It's going to remind me a little bit of Daniel Jones, but that's also because I hate Tua, and I think he's a fraud, and he's a bum, and he's overrated, but, that's neither here nor there, and that might just be a little bit of Dolphin hate. But Tua's going to get paid. He's next in line. And he definitely doesn't deserve $55 million. I don't think he deserves $50 million. I think he's going to end up in that $52 to $53 million a year category, or that range in terms of payday. But the guy that's about to get paid the most here soon is going to be Dak Prescott. The fact that the Cowboys haven't locked him up with the future yet blows my mind. Like, makes no sense. You would think that you'd have your quarterback locked up. I mean, yeah, sure, he's 31 years old, and the Cowboys aren't getting a better option. And the fact that Dak Prescott makes the same amount of money as Daniel Jones is disgusting. For both sides, truthfully. Dak Prescott, Drew made the comment like, wow, Dak's probably going to get like 60 a year at this point, after seeing the Trevor Lawrence contract. And it's probably going to be about 57, 58 mil a year. I don't know what the guarantees are going to look like. And that's just if the Cowboys re-sign him. Imagine if Dak Prescott hits the open market next year. Just imagine how much money he's going to make on the open market. He'll probably make 60. A team like, I don't know, the Raiders, who's got deep pockets, I mean, if Aaron Rodgers retires, do the Jets do something like that? I don't know how deep their pocket will be next year. Let's look to see. Broncos. I don't know. Who's got deep pockets? And the Browns, if they're able to move off of Deshaun Watson, they already shown that they will pay an ungodly amount of money for a quarterback. The Rams, if Matthew Stafford retires, like, there are teams out there. The Giants, if they're able to get out Daniel Jones' contract, that will fork up about $60 million for Dak Prescott. So if he hits the open market, yeah, I could definitely see $60 million a year. If he stays in Dallas, I don't know if he quite hits that number. I think it's going to be about 57, 58. Still a ridiculous amount of money for anyone, really. I mean, that's a... I ask myself often what I would do with $1 million, right? Like, $1 million to most of us is like, whoa, that's a lot of money. And yeah, I'm talking about guys, and are they going to make 58? Are they going to make 57? Just some perspective. That's a ridiculous amount of money. But Dak Prescott is next in line to, or not next in line. I think Tua is next in line to get paid, but Dak is going to be the one that gets paid the most. Like, I don't see Tua surpassing Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence. He doesn't have the draft pedigree. He doesn't have the wins, playoff wins, anything like that. Like, I don't think the Dolphins, as dumb as I like to think the Dolphins are, I don't think they're dumb enough to give Tua that contract. That's Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, or even higher than that. Jordan Love, we'll see. 2024 is a big year for Love. We'll see what it brings for him. But Dak Prescott, man, that deal is going to look ridiculous. When that Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport tweet comes through and says, hey, Dak Prescott has re-signed with the Dallas Cowboys, and you see that number, it's going to be, holy Toledo. That is a huge number. So, again, I wanted to, not quite 30 minutes or so, but definitely probably a little bit longer than I had anticipated talking about just quarterback contracts. Wanted to get on here, talk about these contracts, and like how ridiculous some of them are, the value that some have hit. Like Patrick Mahomes' value is really good, Josh Allen's value is good, I think Lamar's value is even good, but like Daniel Jones, that's a ridiculous number. Deshaun Watson's contract is garbage. Even Kyler Murray's, Derek Carr's, Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, like some of those contracts are not good, especially when you're paid more than the best quarterback in the league. So, wanted to touch on that. Wanted to mention the three guys that are next up to get paid at some point: Dak, Love, and Tua. And we just got to get. I've got to get better. The other three, we've all got to get better at putting more content out there. I'm hoping that we do get to a point where we're starting to, pick back up with some other offseason stuff. We're trying to make some fun things in there. Again, make sure if you haven't already, go check out Dylan's video. He's got a College Football 25 video where he talks about some of the different features that have been mentioned for the game. So make sure you go check that out at YouTube. And then on our TikTok, we've got a couple different new TikToks since I've last hopped on here. So definitely go make sure you like those. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts at Party Chat Sports. So that'd be Spotify, that'd be Google, that'd be Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you're following us. Make sure you're following us on YouTube, on Twitter. It's still twitter.com. And then also on TikTok. One last thing before I let you go. Go Celtics, baby. Go Celtics. Let's win this, baby. Let's win this freaking NBA Finals. Game 4 was a setback. That's okay. That was in Dallas. We're back home tonight. Let's hang it up another banner. All right. This is the one team that I have that is consistently winning championships, okay? So, give this one to me. All right? Go Celtics. Until next time, have a great week up ahead. We're going to try getting content out, but until I see you again, have a good one.